This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video I'm going to analyze the Belmont Derby and give out my contenders from last to first. And the Belmont Derby will be the 9th race at Saratoga on Friday, July 4th. This is a Grade 1 race, and the purse is $750,000, and it is for 3-year-olds traveling 1 1/8 miles on the turf course, and the scheduled post time is 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. And now we'll go last to first. And the horse that I picked to finish 8th in here is the 7 World Beater, and he's definitely on the improve for trainer Riley Mott. He broke his maiden at 1 1/8 miles on turf at Churchill Downs on May 2nd, and then last time out he stepped up into a stakes race, the Audubon Stakes, at 1 1/8 miles on turf at Churchill on May 31st, and he sat in mid-pack and he won that race by a neck. He went off Lasix last time, so he proved that he doesn't need Lasix to run a quality race. He'll probably be sitting in mid-pack in here, and we'll see how he does as he steps up in class. His numbers are on the rise, so he is getting faster. The horse that I pick to finish 7th is going to be the 1 Tank, and he could be the one to catch from the inside post for trainer Carlos David. And Luis Saez is going to ride this one, and he did guide this one to victory back on March 30th. So that was a good effort that day. And then he stepped up into the English Channel Stakes, and he chased from second, and he won by a half length. That was on May 3rd. And then on June 7th, he was in another stakes race at Gulfstream at 1 1/16 miles, and he went wire to wire. From the inside post in a race without a ton of pace, he's stepping up in class, and he'll probably take them as far as he can. And the horse that I picked to finish 6th in here is going to be the 2 Early Adopter for trainer Chad Brown. And Jose Ortiz is the rider here. Now, he disappointed as the beaten favorite in the Audubon Stakes last time out. He just failed to quicken from the outside post in the stretch. He was 5th, beaten 5 lengths in that 8-horse field. Before that, he had Lasix, and he won an entry-level allowance race at 1 3/16 miles at Keeneland. That was on April 23rd. So now his 3rd race after a layoff, and Fabian Pratt rode him last time, but he's not going to ride this time. He reconnects with his winning rider, Jose Ortiz. I just don't know that he's quick enough. There's not a ton of pace in this race, and he's going to be rallying from off the pace. Probably wants even more ground than this 1 1/8 miles, since he did break his maiden at 1 3/16 miles. Now the horse that I picked to finish 5th is going to be the 3 Luther, and this one is shipping in from France. And for him, 7 starts, 2 wins, and 2 runner-up finishes. Now going back earlier in his career, he was in good form. He won his career debut, 7 furlongs on turf. That was in Great Britain, June of 2024. And then in his 2nd career start, 1 mile on turf, he finished a half length behind New Century, and New Century is in this race. And then he won his next start, and then he's been facing tougher company. He was in a Group 2, he was 5th, then he dropped down in class, and he ended up finishing 2nd. That was his first start this year. And then back-to-back Group 1 races in his last pair, 4th, beaten 1 1/4 miles. That was in a 16-horse field at 1 mile on turf. And then 1 5/16 miles on soft ground last time. He was 15th in an 18-horse field. So his 4th start of the year. He hasn't had any success against stakes company, at least overseas stakes company. He's a son of Franco, so he's got a good pedigree. Looking at his form, he seems best in shorter races. He did well at 7 furlongs and 1 mile. And then he was running well at 1 mile on all-weather ground in his first start this year. So for him, it is a step up in class. I kind of figure he's going to finish somewhere in mid-pack. That's why I picked him to finish 5th. And the horse that I picked to finish 4th in here is going to be the 8 Flying Mohawk. And I think it's a good thing that he's going to be moving back to the turf course, because both of his career wins were on turf. And those races, that was a maiden race at Churchill Downs, October of 2024 at 1 1/16 miles. He stalked from 3rd, and then he won an allowance race on the turf course at Fairgrounds at 1 1/16 miles, rallying from off the pace. And then he was 2nd in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, rallying from off the pace to finish behind Final Gambit, and that one's in here. And for Flying Mohawk, he removed blinkers and ran in the Kentucky Derby after qualifying with that runner-up finish in the Jeff Ruby, but he was no threat in the Kentucky Derby. He was 18th in a 19-horse field. He was beaten 42 lengths as a 28-1 long shot. So moving back over to the turf course, he's reconnecting with Frankie Dettori. He rode him in his first 2 career starts, including a runner-up finish, stalking the pace at Kentucky Downs 2nd time out. So for him, putting blinkers back on, moving back to the turf course, those are positives, and I can see him getting a bit forwardly placed. He did set the pace in the Pilgrim Stakes when he was a maiden. That was on turf last year, and then he stalked from 3rd in his maiden win. So he's one with blinkers back on his preferred surface. He could impact the pace in here, because looking overall, There's just not a lot of speed in this race. And the horse that I picked to finish third is going to be the 6, and that's Final Gambit. And for him, for trainer Brad Cox, Flavien Prat is going to ride him back. And I think it's a good thing probably that he's switching surfaces as well. In his career debut, his lone attempt on turf, that was a 1-mile turf race at Churchill last fall, and he rallied from 11th in a 12-horse field to finish third. Solid effort to begin his career, and then he had a lot of success on all-weather ground at Turfway. In back-to-back 1-mile races in the maiden ranks, he just missed by a half length in his first start of the year in January, and then on February 15th, he went last to first in a 1-mile maiden race at Turfway. And he had Lasix in those races, but he didn't need Lasix in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. He won that one nicely, going 12th from 12th and last to first to win by 3.5 lengths over Flying Mohawk. So that was a good performance that day. And in the Kentucky Derby, he wasn't embarrassed. He had a troubled start, but he was going to be far back early anyway because he likes to rally from far back. And he rallied wide, and he finished fourth in that 19-horse field behind Sovereignty, Journalism, and Baeza. 3 very good horses there. Sovereignty would come back to win the Belmont. Journalism would come back to finish first in the Preakness, and then second in the Belmont, and then Baeza was third in the Belmont in his next start. So that was a productive race for those top 3 finishers in the Derby. And then in the Matt Winn Stakes, he took a lot of money, but it was only a 4-horse field, and he's a closer that needs pace help, and he just was last all the way around. He didn't get any pace help. East Avenue was able to go wire to wire over Burnham Square and Coal Battle, and all of those horses exited the Kentucky Derby, as did Final Gambit. So Flavien Prat got to know him last time, moving back over to the turf course. That's a good thing. It's just a question of, will he be able to outkick some of these horses that are in this race that have some quality? And again, not a lot of pace in this race for him to chase, but a lot of times in these turf races, the best finisher will win. If it's not a quick pace and you have a bunched up group, it's just a sprint to the finish, and Final Gambit does have a good kick. The horse that I picked to finish second, that's the 5 Test Score for trainer Graham Motion. Manny Franco is going to ride this one, and Franco's been riding, and each time Franco rode, he ran well, including a runner-up finish in his turf sprint debut. And then after that, in the With Anticipation Stakes under Junior Alvarado, he was 5th. And then he won, he broke his maiden at Keeneland in a 1-mile turf race. And then he missed by a neck in a stakes race at Del Mar. That was a good effort under Manny Franco, and his maiden win was under Franco as well. And then Tyler Gaffalione rode him in the Kitten's Joy Stakes, and he was 3rd. And then in the Transylvania Stakes at 1 mile and a 16th, he stalked and he won that race. That was a grade 3 under Manny Franco. And then Franco was back aboard in the Grade 1 American Turf. He finished second behind Zulu Kingdom, and he was a nose in front of New Century. So Zulu Kingdom is a very good horse for trainer Chad Brown. He's running in the Manila Stakes, and he's the favorite. And for Test Score, gets away from Zulu Kingdom here. He has tactical speed, so I like that stalking speed. So he can work out a good trip, but he won't be as far back as some of the other closers. And my top choice in here, the 4 New Century. Brendan Walsh is the trainer, and Oyson Murphy is going to ride, and he was riding him earlier in his career, but he didn't ride last time, but he's getting back aboard here. He began his career in an all-weather sprint, and he finished 4th in a 9-horse field. That was in Great Britain. Then he won his second start in Great Britain. Nice effort, 7 furlongs on turf. Then he was second in his next start, another good effort. Then he beat Luther in his final start in Great Britain in 2024, and then he shipped to Woodbine for the Grade 1 Summer Stakes, and he showed a nice late kick there in a 10-horse field. He rallied from 8th, and he won nicely by a length and a quarter. And then he was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. He ended up finishing 4th from post 10. Decent rally there. And then his first start this year, he was in a Group 3 in Great Britain. That was on April 16th, and he ended up finishing 5th in a 9-horse field. He came back to North America in the Grade 1 American Turf, and that was at Churchill Downs, and that was on May 3rd, and he ended up rallying from 11th place and finishing 3rd there. He was really finishing full of run in that mile and a 16th race, just finishing a nose behind Test Score. So I think this mile and an 1/8 distance is going to serve him well. He earned a nice late pace rating last time. He's reconnecting with his winning rider, and as I said, this race could turn into a sprint for home, and he could be the best finisher in this race. New Century is going to be my top choice, and I don't think he has to be as far back as he was last time, but he was only 4 lengths behind. It wasn't like he was far back, but he was 11th in a 14-horse field. So I think if he can stay within hailing distance of the slow pace here, I think he can outkick these and get the job done. So number 4, New Century, is going to be my top choice in the Belmont Derby. And if you're interested in my full card analysis, I'm covering full cards at Saratoga 4th of July week, July 3rd through 6th, Saratoga the week after that, July 10th through 13th. Then I'm going to switch gears and move over to the West Coast, and I'm covering the entire Del Mar Summer Meet from July 18th through September 7th. And then I'm going to be doing select Saturday full cards at Saratoga this summer as well. So go over to the runawayhorse.com. When you get to my front page, you'll see Buy Cards. Click there. That will take you over to my shop page. And right now, for July 3rd through 6th, you can pre-purchase my Saratoga full cards, and I will email analysis 1 to 2 days before race day. And if you want a free pick each day, again, the runawayhorse.com, at the top of the home page, you're going to see Better Bets, Free Picks. Click that tab. It will take you over to my free picks page, and you'll get a free pick from around the country each day. Like, comment, and share these videos if you like them. Subscribe to my channel as well. It's free to subscribe. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.